How's everyone doing today? First day of the semester. So exciting. Um, the next 16 weeks are gonna fly by. It's gonna be December. No, not December. Sorry, May. It's gonna be December before we know it too, but it'll be May before we know it. Um, by a show of hands, how many of you this is your first semester at St. Philip's College? Anybody your first time ever at St. Philip's College? Okay. How about anybody? This is your first class with me. Oh, I was gonna say I didn't see a lot of names that I recognize on the list, so I'm excited. Okay, so tell me, have you heard amazing things about my class, wonderful things about my class, spectacular things about my classes? There's no negativity in this class. Okay, I'm just kidding. So my name is Mr. Uminski. I have been actually now been teaching here for 10 years. I'm really excited. This is actually one of my favorite classes to teach. Don't tell my hospitality folks that. But outside of the hotel and hospitality classes, which is the programs that I oversee, hotel and hospitality. But outside of those two programs, this really is my favorite class to teach. Because I love math. How many of you would say that you love math? Okay. How many of you would say you like math? A few more hands. How many of you would say you despise math? You hate math? Okay, cool. That's fine. I always see a few hands. My goal is by the end of this course that you will actually just appreciate math. I'm not going to ask you to love math as much as I do. I think that's not possible. Okay. Actually, at one point in my life, I thought I was going to go back and be a high school math teacher because my high school math teachers had such a great influence on me. And then I realized I can't teach high school. And so I came to teach college instead. Um, but uh, but no, so I mean, just math for me, I love math because with math, there's always an answer. Even if, like in higher level math, the answer is there is no answer, there's always an answer in math. Um, the really cool thing about what we're going to do in this class is how many of you have taken college algebra? Anybody taken college algebra or algebra classes in the past? Okay. What were you looking for in college algebra? The answer to X. Like, what is X, right? We don't know what X is. It's some imaginary number. But in our class, which we're going to talk about today, we know we're going to define what X is. We know what the variable is. And in most times, it's things that we can close our eyes, we can picture that product and how we're going to use it. Okay. So couple of things. If you've watched the pre-class introduction video, you know that we are piloting, we are kind of practicing a new format of presenting classes called High Flex. Okay, High Flex is a way of presenting class where you have the choice of attending in person or you have the choice of attending on Zoom. Okay. It is synchronous, meaning that you can still you have to log in at 6:45. You'll still get counted absent or late if you're not logged into Zoom, right? And your attendance is part of your overall final grade. So it's still important for you to log in. Okay. However, we are piloting it, meaning that we're practicing it as a small group and we're going to take the lessons that we learn in this class and we're going to apply that to a larger base of classes here at St. Philip's in our department, as well as across the campus. Okay. So the reason why I say that is because I'm going to ask for a little bit of grace as we are all learning together. Things like when I hand out when I pass out a handout, if I forget to upload it to Canvas, so those of you who are on Zoom have access to it, just give me a few moments to get that done. Okay. So I'm gonna be learning probably just as much as y'all are. So I appreciate any grace that y'all have to give me for that regard. My email address and phone number. The best way to get a hold of me is email. Okay. If you don't get a response within 48 hours, send me a little gentle reminder. Hey, Mr. Uminski, did you get my email a couple days ago? Okay. If it's super time sensitive, I need to know by the end of the day. Please let me know, because a lot of times I will get anywhere from 100 to 125 emails a day. And so sometimes I'll just look at the subject line and I'll make a snap decision. Do I need to read that right now, or can I wait for it tomorrow if it comes up while I'm working on something? So email's the best way. This is the phone number to my office, so please don't try to text it. It is a landline, but all of my phone calls from my office get forwarded to my cell. So regardless of where I am, if you call that number, it will ring to my cell phone. I don't typically answer numbers I don't know the number to, okay? And so if I send you to voicemail, please leave me a voicemail, okay? If you don't leave me a voicemail, I won't know that you're the person who's calling, okay? Questions, comments, concerns so far? Yes. Yes, you can. Yes, you absolutely, you can log into Zoom now. Um, Sorry, this might be a student who's locked out. Give me 1 second. They're at the second floor entrance. Thank you so much. All right. Uh-oh. I just heard that door click closed. Go get that. All right. I believe they lock at 5. Because that's like the campus standard. Maybe it was 6 then. I don't know. I'm gonna ask that they keep it unlocked until 7, so that way if you're running just a few minutes late. Um, all right. Let's start today with a math problem. Okay, everyone get a piece of paper out. Get your pencil ready. If you need pencils, I have them up here. I highly recommend that you are using that for scratch paper. Yes. Here, use that one for me. I recommend that you use pencil in this class so you can erase and make changes. All right. Oh, thank you. Here we go. Here's our math problem. If you're going down a river at 2 miles per hour and your canoe loses a wheel, how much pancake mix would you need to reshingle your roof? Okay. How many of you, when you think of math, you think of something that it'd be normal, regular English, but you read it and it looks like this to you? How many? Okay, cool. So what I'm going to teach you as we go through this class, I like math step by step by step. Okay, so I'm going to teach you step by step by step. So we're not doing math like this. Okay, we're doing easy math. Okay, how many of you might feel a little bit like this right about now? Okay, anybody might think maybe it's next week you feel like this. Maybe tomorrow you might feel like this. I don't know, right? So it's important that as you are working through your classes, okay, we need to figure out, we talk about it in the professionalism class. If you had me for that class, we talk about stress management, things that you can do to kind of help relieve that stress. I feel like this about 2 or 3 times a day, right? And for me, feeling like this helps keeping me move forward because that means I got to keep up with what I got to get doing, what I have to get done. So I actually, today is my last day of a week-long break for classes. So I have a brand new class that starts tomorrow called Leading Across Cultures. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm working on my doctorate degree at Grand Canyon University with a higher education leadership focus. So one day I'll be the president of St. Philip's College. I don't know. I'll be the president of some, well, maybe vice president. Let's not aim too high. Maybe vice president. But I'm 11 classes done. I have 10 classes left. And my goal is to grow my beard until on the day I'm done with my doctorate degree. So if you ever come back and visit me in the future and I'm shaved, it means you have to call me Dr. Uminski. Okay. So to me, it's the visual representation of the passage of time. This is a year and a half. I have a year and a half left. So we'll see. But I feel stressed like this quite often. But it's important for you to be able to know what you can do when you're feeling this way. Sometimes it impacts how you receive information and how you take the lesson that's being taught that day. I wear my headset for right now because I live record every one of my lectures. So for those of you who have not ever had me in class before, I live record every lecture that I've done since 2019. And so I will post the recording on Canvas as soon as class is done, usually within 24 hours. Okay. So there's a part of the lesson that maybe you have to go back and see how we worked step by step because your notes weren't super clear. Or let's say you were absent, you had to leave early one day and you want to get, or maybe you came in 30 minutes late and you want to see what we covered at the beginning of class, you can do that. Okay. So right now I use my headset. You can see there's two of me on the screen. One of them is my computer. One of them is my cell phone. And this gives a much better audio quality. Now I am learning how to use these microphones and these cameras tomorrow morning. So hopefully I won't have to use this and I can rely on these microphones in here. That also is something I learned today. Again, like remember I talked about how we're going to learn lessons together. I had one student that logged in on Zoom. Well, he couldn't hear any of the stuff that the students were asking because he could only hear what I was saying. So as soon as I get to use this technology in here, it'll be a lot better. Okay. So we're gonna do a quick introductions. Okay. So if you will tell us your name, what degree you're going for or certificate, what if you have a favorite restaurant or a fun fact about yourself. Okay, so I'll go first. My name is Mr. Uminski. I'm working on a doctorate degree in education, so it's an EDD, not a PhD. That would be a doctorate of philosophy. Okay, so I'm working on my EDD in organizational leadership with a focus in higher ed leadership. And my favorite restaurant right now, because you know what? No, I'm just going to say general. I'm on the sushi and ramen kick lately. So if you know any good spots, please let me know because that's one of my favorite foods right now. Trapper's Seafood is one of my favorite places. You sit at the bar, all you can eat sushi for like $35 or $30. I think it's 25 on happy hour. Can usually manage about 4 or 5 rolls and then I'm like really uncomfortable. So, but they're great. Fun fact about me. Fun fact about me. Oh, in 2019, I set a goal to climb to the highest elevation point of every state before I turned 50. And in 2019, I set that goal when I was on the top of Texas at Guadalupe Peak. That was my second peak ever in 2019. And in 2024, I'm now up to 38. I did Arizona last year in August, and it just about killed me at like 12,600 feet. And so it was an 11-mile, 8-hour, 5 hours up, 3 hours down round trip hike. So it's pretty awesome. In 2025, I'm looking at doing Colorado, New Mexico, and potentially California, which is actually the highest elevation in the 48 states in the continent. So if I can get up to that, I'll be a 9 away. And did y'all know that Mount McKinley or Mount Denali in Alaska, anybody, any guesses on how high that one is? The first number is a 2. It's over 20,000 feet. So that one's going to be, may not get that one, but you know, hey, going from 2 to 49 may not be that bad. All right. Who wants to go next? Hey, here you go. No.
My name's Brian Brown. I'm a 27-year retired 2015. I've been going to school since about before I retired. So I'm already a Standpoint College graduate. Got to Penn State. Got my master's in 2014 and 2017. I'm currently working on my master's, so I'm 3 classes shy of my master's. So I've had a lot of death happen in the last 7 years. Losing a daughter, father, brother, my in-law. So, and between our last year. So with perseverance, I know you talk about perseverance and you know.
All right. So let's talk about Canvas. Okay. The best way to navigate through Canvas is going through the modules. Okay. Again, if you've never had me for class, I try to keep my modules relatively organized. In this particular class, I have them organized by week. So week 1 through week 16. And so it kind of just gives you an idea of what we're going to work on each week. Now we may get a little bit off, we may get off schedule a little bit, but that's okay. We'll get all caught up. Okay. We have 10 chapters in the textbook. Okay. So 10 of the 16 weeks are going to be spent on the chapters. So 1 chapter a week. There's might be some time where I get crazy and do 2 chapters in a week. I don't know. Sometimes we're moving along, right? But so that gives us 6 other weeks to work on. Today is 1 week. So there's 5 other weeks. Once we get done with the textbook and all the chapters, at that point, we'll be in the progress of doing our semester project. And at that point, we just do open class days where you can log into Zoom and ask questions, or you can come into class and we can do tutoring on the project in class. Okay. That's what I call independent study, and it's project work days. So once we finish with the textbook, we'll move into project work days, and we'll kind of post that on the calendar. Okay. There will be some times where I either am leaving for a conference where we won't have class. Okay. I'm still trying to work on that. This is my first semester ever teaching 3 sections of this class. So I have a Monday, Tuesday. There we go. I have a Monday, Wednesday, 2 to 3:15, a Tuesday, Thursday, 2 to 3:15, and then tonight's class, 6:45 to 9:30. We won't always go till 9:30. Sometimes we will. But I try to keep my classes together. Okay. So whatever I do on Monday and Tuesday is the first part of our class on Wednesday. And then we'll have a break. And then the second half of our class on Wednesday night will be what I cover on Tuesday, Thursday, no. Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday is our first class. Wednesday and Thursday is the second half of class. Okay. And so I say that because let's say, for example, you know you're going to be late to class, or maybe you have to leave early. Well, if you want to come to class on Thursday to make up that absence, you just let me know when you log in or when you come to class on Thursday so I can go back and update your attendance record. Okay. So whatever I'm doing on Monday, whenever we do the first half of this class, I do on Monday and Tuesday. And then the second half of the class I do on Wednesday during the day and Thursday during the day. Okay. So, and you are welcome to come to any of those classes to make up an absence. Okay. If you need to. Decorum is basically just the appropriate way of acting. Okay. I know in the kitchen, our language is not always the most professional in the kitchen, but we're not in a kitchen. We're in a business setting. And so I'm going to ask that we use professional language. Okay. To say that I've never said a swear word would be lying, but professionalism is knowing what the proper way of acting is in various situations and settings. And so in this setting, in our professionalism, in this business class, this business hospitality business class, I'm going to ask that we don't use any kind of swear words. If I hear it, I might just say, hey, language. Sometimes it comes out, it's okay. But if it becomes an issue, then I'm going to have to bring it up. But I'm going to try to keep it kind of lighthearted to begin with and just kind of point that out. Any questions, comments, concerns? We do not have a uniform for this class. Okay, so if you want to come in your uniform, you absolutely can, but it's either full uniform or not. Okay, so if you're in your uniform, that means buttoned all the way to the top. Okay, you don't have to wear your hat and hairnet because you're not in a lab. But what I don't want to see, I want to hold you to the same standard as the labs. What I don't want to see is half of a uniform. By what I mean by that is pants and like a white undershirt. Because obviously I know those black pants and those checkered pants are your chef pants. And so I don't want you, I either want you to be fully in uniform or completely out of uniform. Okay. When I worked at Cheesecake Factory, I was on the opening team at North Star Mall, which is hard to believe that opened 22 years ago. And when I was on the opening team of Cheesecake Factory, we had to walk from our car in full uniform through the mall in our white apron all the way down to our feet. And it was required. If we were caught outside of full uniform, then we would get written up. Okay. Because the moment people see you, they're associating with that. So you don't know if Dr. Lawson's walking through the building with a potential donor that wants to give money to our program. And if we're looking sloppy halfway in and out of uniform, that doesn't really give a great image. So decorum, we talked about that. Assignments are almost always due at 8 a.m. the first class meeting. Okay. Meaning our assignments for this class are pretty much always going to be due at 8 a.m. on Wednesday mornings. Okay. Anybody know why I set 8 a.m. as the due date and the due time? Because I'm not up at midnight grading your papers. I'm not sitting there be like, ooh, I wonder when Jacqueline's going to turn in her paper so I can grade it. Okay. It's not happening. Okay. Like I told you, I'm now in school. I did my master's from 2018 to 2020 at North Texas. And I had homework assignments that were due at 11:59 p.m. And I'm just like, but I have to do my homework at 2 a.m. That's just how my schedule allows me to. So that homework is turned in late. Well, if I'm not up at midnight going to grade your papers, what does it matter if you have 8 extra hours? Okay. And then the work's not late. It's late after at 8:01, it's late. But before that, you have until 8 a.m. to turn that work in. So I think about like our classes on Wednesdays. So Wednesday is the new start of our new work week or our new class week. Okay. So most of the time, 8 a.m. Participation. Our classes are meant to be discussions. Okay. So in Canvas, there are, let me show you. In Canvas, oops, I did not log into Canvas. Sorry, give me one moment. And now I need to go get a text code. One four three two six two. Okay. So in Canvas, this is cost control section 2. In the modules, You'll see my office hours. So these are the hours that I'm literally either in, I am in my office most of the time. Sometimes I do have to go off campus, but most of the time I'm in my office during these times, but I'm also logged into Zoom. So if you don't want to come to campus to ask me questions, or if you need help with tutoring, you can just click on this link on Mondays from 12 to 2 p.m. And I'm literally sitting on Zoom waiting for you to come talk to me. Okay. It can be questions about the class. It can be questions about what classes you have to take in the future. It could be questions about if you want to transfer to a university and get a bachelor's degree. It can be questions about, do I know any jobs that are open? It can be anything. Just come in and talk to me. Okay. I'm here during these times. Just click the link. And if it is outside of this time, okay, I can do appointments by office hours. Give you a hint. It's the same link for every single one of these. So if I just say meet me on my office hours, just click on this and it'll take you to my office hours. Okay. What's that? You can ask me about scholarships. Yep. Yes. So our Zoom link from when we have class, I'm going to publish it right here. This is the project day work, the work Zoom. Or if you go to the homepage right here where it says Zoom project workday, I'll use that same link right here. Okay, so if you want to log into class from Zoom, you can just use that link. Same thing here. You can click here. It'll take you to, oh, yeah. Oh, no, it takes you to my fall ones. No, I need to update that. Yeah, update that link. It'll take you, my first one is up here in the spring. Okay, next, the module. So chapter one, anytime it has a chapter number and a lesson number, that's a short little video that I've created. It's a pre-lecture video. It's actually one of the silver linings of the pandemic that I actually had time to sit and record lectures. So it's essentially a short video. And I say short, they range anywhere from 5 minutes. I think the longest one is about 18 minutes, which I've been told is way too long for your attention span, but I recorded these in 2020 and I'm not going to go back and re-record them. So you get 18-minute videos. But not a lot of them are that long. But essentially, this follows the textbook. Okay. So if you have not gotten your textbook yet, all you have to do is go to your student email. It's included with your tuition. So you've already paid for it. So you might as well get it. Okay. Go to your student email and you can place the order from the bookstore, and then they'll let you know when it's ready for you to come pick it up. Okay. If you need help locating your student email, please let me know. I'm happy to help. But I want you to watch these videos before you come to class. Okay. And then when you come to class, on the back table, and this will also be for those of you who are on Zoom online. We're getting there. Come on. There we go. Okay. So there is an in-class discussion notes page for every chapter. So I will, if you're coming in class, I will print this out for you and I'll put it in the back and you just pick up a copy as you walk in the door. Okay. If you are online, you'll need to download this notes page and follow along as we're going through the information in class. Okay. Now, the reason why you want to do that is because when you go through here in module 1, you'll see extra credit. So in the assignments, there's an extra credit for every chapter. All you have to do is upload your completed notes page, okay? Which is something you should be doing anyways. You would think that everyone would do this, but they don't. But that's okay. I can't control what you do with your time. But this live lecture record these notes, if you post that with it completed, okay, I will give everyone who completes this 0.25 points added onto your final average at the end of the semester. Okay. So we have 10 chapters. How many points is that? 2.5. Okay. That means if you have an 88 and you've done all 10 chapters, then I'm going to bump you up to an A. You're going to go up to an 88, you're going to go to a 90.5. But if you have an 88 and you've done none of the chapters, well, then you have an 88, you got a B. Okay. This is designed to help people get bumped up to the next grade level just a little bit. If you got an 82, there's nothing I can do to get you up to an A. Okay. At that point, I just can't do anything. Okay. So these extra credit notes, I do know how to scan documents with an iPhone. I'm not so tech savvy with Androids, but there's a way you can literally, as soon as class is done, scan it, or if you want to take pictures and upload it to Canvas using the Canvas app, boom, you're done before you even leave class. Okay. So questions about the notes pages, questions about if you're online and you're typing things, you can just upload the file to Canvas. Okay. Questions about this? Nope. Okay. Excuse me. All right, let's do some math. I know. All right, so the front side looks like this. 10 math problems. The slash right here is division. The asterisk right here in 8 and 9 and 5 is multiplication. Okay, so you can use your calculator. You don't have to do these in your head. Use your calculator. Okay, go ahead and do these. I'm going to give you about 3 minutes. It's about 3 questions per minute. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the easiest math you've ever done, 5 being like quantum physics. Okay, scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate these math problems? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully not 5 because it's not as hard as quantum physics. Okay, cool. I see 1s, 2s, 3s. Good. Okay, cool. Now, one of the things that I do this exercise for is to demonstrate in this class, we are going to add, subtract, multiply, divide. That's all we're doing. Okay. We're not finding the tangent. We're not finding the cosine. We're not doing trigonometry. We're not doing matrices. Okay. We're not doing any kind of pre-cal, any kind of like that calculus stuff. We are literally just adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Okay. The other reason why I do this exercise is because we don't know what these numbers mean. Okay. These numbers don't have meaning until we give them meaning, until we give them units. Okay. So what is 36 divided by 4? 9. Give me 1 second. Right. There we go. Okay. So 36 divided by 4 is 9. 9 what? I don't know. Let's flip your page over. How many 4-ounce portions will we get from a 36-pound bag of salad mix? We're going to get 9 portions, right? Now these numbers mean something. When we put units, we do 36 ounces divided by 4 ounces. I get 9 portions. Now these numbers mean something when we put units in them. You can picture a 36-ounce bag of salad, dividing it into 4 ounces, and we have 9 servings. Okay, so 9 portions. 15 minus 13. 2. 2 what? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. Let's look at it and see what it says. If we yield 13 pounds from a 15-pound case of tomatoes, how much product did we lose in prep? Okay, so we start with 15 pounds. Now you do have to know that yield means how much we have left over. Okay, 15 pounds minus 13 pounds equals 2 pounds loss. Okay, maybe we're making tomato concasse. We pay for that core, right? We pay for 15 pounds of tomatoes, but we core each one. We drop them into boiling water, peel those skins out, take the seeds out. All of that stuff weighs something, right? And so at the end, we end up with 13 pounds of tomatoes left over. Okay. 13 divided by 15, same numbers, different mathematical function. 13 divided by 15 is 0.667. Okay, right? Because it's 6 repeating, right? 867. Okay. I was gonna say that's not a really good number. I don't know why I would have done that. Okay. 0.867. There we go. Because the 6 is repeating, right? So I'm gonna do this. Everyone write this in your notes. Percent equals the part over the whole. This is the universal formula for percentage. If you want to find the percentage of anything, you do the part divided by the whole. Okay. So in this case, what's our percentage yield if 13 pounds of tomatoes remains from a 15-pound case? 13 is the part, 15 is the whole. Okay. Now, the one last thing I did not put on this formula is times 100. The reason why I leave times 100 off is because, do that in your head. How many zeros are in 100? 2. So we move this decimal 2 places, 86.7%. So we move that decimal place over 2 spots because there's 2 zeros in 100. Now, if you need to feel comfortable and type in times 100 in your calculator, go for it. Okay, you won't get that second and a half of your life back, but that's okay. If you get the right answer, then that's all that matters. Okay, it's time well spent. So in this case, we have 13 pounds divided by 15 pounds is equal to 0.86 repeating. So we're going to round up to 7 because with decimals, with percentages, we always want 1 decimal place with percentages. Okay, always 1 decimal place with percentages. Can we round up to 87%? Are we going to make up that 0.3 of a tomato? That pound? We can't make that up, right? We could round down if we wanted to, be on the safe side, right? But let's always go with 1 decimal place when it comes to percentages. Okay, so that's why I always like to go to 3 decimals, right? Because then that decimal and then 3 numbers, that gives me my 1 decimal place. Questions, comments, concerns about the universal formula for percentage? Okay, I want you to remember that because that's going to be a question on one of your first homework assignments. The universal formula for percentage is part divided by the whole. Okay. Our final exam, this is a little side note, looking forward 16 weeks forward. Our final exam has 80 questions. Don't ask me why, the publisher wrote it. I didn't write it. Okay, it has 80 questions. Well, if you get a 75, does that mean you got a C on the exam? No, that's the part divided by the whole. You haven't, I think it's an A. Yeah, it's an A because what is that? 72 would be a 90. So you have an A. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I got a 75 on the test. No, that's how many questions you got right. 75 out of 80, that's your percentage. Sure. Okay, so whenever you have things like if we have 100 and you got 75 right, then yeah, you got a 75 out of 100. That's the 75%. But if you ever want to figure out what your actual grade is based on the number of points, just do it that way. Okay. 200 minus 1500. Of course, 500. Okay. 500. What is our profit if sales equals 2000 and cost equals 1500? Now, in this case, what is our unit? Dollars, right? So we don't have any, we have the dollar sign. That's our unit. You don't have to put pounds. You don't have to write the word dollars afterwards, right? Just by putting the dollar sign, that is our unit. Okay. So if you turn in homework or you're like, hey, Miss Uminski, I just don't get this homework, and this is what you show me, I don't know how to help you because I don't know what those numbers mean. So if you say, hey, Miss Uminski, I'm not quite sure what I'm getting wrong. Let's say, for example, I'm going to do this in red, so don't write this down. I'm going to do this in red. Let's say you did 15 divided by 13 and you got 1 point something. I'm like, I don't know what those numbers mean. But if you wrote 15 pounds divided by 13 pounds, I'd be like, oh, you need to flip those. It's the part over the whole. This is whole divided by the part. Okay. So when it comes to helping you with your homework, and this will be more evident when we come to the project at the end of the semester or middle to the end of the semester. If you just give me a whole bunch of numbers, I don't know what that means. But if you break it down and you have it the units, then I can help you a lot better. Okay. So this one right here, profit or loss equals sales minus expenses. Sales minus expenses. That's our profit or loss formula. Now, ever since we've been taught how to subtract, where do we say the bigger number goes? It goes in front, right? Well, we can't do that because what happens if our bigger number is our cost? If we have a bigger number that's a cost, that means we're going to have a negative answer, right? Sales minus expenses, which means we lost money. Okay. So you always have to do sales minus expenses to get that profit or loss. Profit means, yay, it's a positive number. Loss means we lost money. It's a negative number. Okay. Now, how many of you are starting to feel a little overwhelmed? Anybody? Okay, cool. So just keep in mind, these are the types of math we're going to do for the whole semester. So we'll get into chapters where we'll do things more practice examples over and over again. This is just kind of giving you that high level that we are adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. That's it. Okay. Number 5, 25 times 0.9 is 22.5. Okay. 22.5 what? So what is our expected yield from 25 pounds of potatoes with a 90% yield factor? So now we're going the opposite direction, right? The first time we had the part and the whole. Now we have the actual percentage and we have how much we started with. And we're going to try to find out what we have left over. Okay. Expected yield is how much we're going to have left over. This is the whole. And we have the percentage. You'll notice it's written as 0.9, right? So 90%, we move that decimal place over 2 spots. And we have 0.9. Now, if you want to, go ahead and type that 0 in there. Okay? If it means that you see it better, go ahead and do it. So 25 pounds times 0.9 is 22.5 pounds. Why do you think it's important that we know this information or we use this type of math? Who's going for their catering degree? Okay. Tiffany, I remember you mentioned that. Why do you think it's important that we know this kind of math? Exactly. Exactly. If you need 100 pounds of potatoes to serve to people, am I just going to buy 100 pounds? I have to buy extra because I'm going to lose 10% of that in the process. Okay. If I only buy 100, I'm going to end up with 90 and I'm not going to have enough food to serve people. And if I'm a caterer and I run out of food, do you think I'm going to get a next gig from those people? Probably not. Okay. Exactly. Yep. So there's always some things that we're going to do. And so we're going to teach you in this class, especially if you're catering. Now, a lot of times recipes already have like it figured out. But for them, so we're not going to do a whole lot of conversions in our recipes in this class, but it's important to know. Now, that's 90% yield factor. What about like maybe I'm peeling the potatoes, right? If I'm making potatoes, French fries fresh, I'm just cutting potatoes. I may have a 98% yield factor, right? I may have to cut off some bad spots, but the most of it, I'm just going to take a whole potato, slice it, throw it in the fryer. That's a pretty much 100% yield factor. I have a whole potato, I slice it, and it goes right in the fryer. Okay. 2.25 divided by 0.32 is 7,031. Okay. We're talking about money. So what price should we sell our entree if the cost is $2.25, and we are aiming to maintain a 32% food cost? Okay. When we talk about cost, when I say something costs this amount, in this class, you have to shift your brain from being a consumer to being a business owner. Okay. When I say this costs $2.25, that means it cost me that to make that. It's not going to be on the menu at $2.25. It's not the consumer paying that. That's what it costs. It costs us to make that. Okay. So somewhere on your notes page, on that big open wide blank space on the bottom, I want you to draw this triangle nice and big. Okay. Draw this triangle nice and big. Do a horizontal line halfway, cut it in half, and then draw a vertical line to cut the bottom portion into half as well. Okay, so you're gonna divide your triangle in half up and down, and then you're gonna divide the bottom portion in half as well. Okay, now in this top portion, you're gonna write the word cost. Sorry, that looks really horrible. Let me erase that. Um, so cost is on the top. You have percent on the bottom, and then you have selling price on the other section on the bottom. Okay. So selling price or menu price, whatever we want to call it. Okay. Cost divided by cost percent selling price. We good so far? All right, next. What does this horizontal line look like? What kind of mathematical function? Division. So write a big division sign right there, just like that. And what is the opposite of division? Multiplication. So this vertical line is going to be multiplication. Put an X right there. All right. How we manipulate this tool. Okay, this is a tool, a learning tool that you can utilize. Okay. What question are we being asked? What price? So what selling price? We're going to cover that up. And what's left over? Cost divided by percentage. Okay. So what is our cost? $2.25. divided by our percentage of 32. So we're going to make that back into a decimal, 0.32. And that gives me $7. Okay. You see how we did that? We cover up what we're looking for, and what remains is our formula. Okay. So you don't have to memorize 3 different formulas. Just draw the triangle. We know that cost goes on the top, percent's on the bottom, and selling price is also on the bottom. Okay. What's the universal formula for percentage? Part over the whole, right? The whole is what we sell it for. The part is the cost it takes us to make it. Okay, so cost is the part on top, and the selling price is the whole on the bottom. Okay, questions about this? Now, we're talking about money, right? How many decimal places do we need in money? 2 decimal places. So we're actually, this is going to seem really weird, we're actually going to answer this as $7.04. I'm like, Mr. Uminski, that doesn't make sense, because normal rounding rules say if it's 4 or below, we leave it alone. 5 and above, you round up. Okay, we're talking money here. This 1, you see this 1 right here? That's a part of a penny. Okay, it's a part of a penny. If we sell this item 10 times, we put all those 10 parts together, and what do we get? A whole penny. And you're like, Mr. Minsky, that's a whole penny. Quit making a big deal out of it. Okay, but let's take a look. If we do our calculator here, and let's say we sell this thing 100,000 times in the course of a year. Okay, divide that by, or no, multiply that by 0.1, essentially 1/10 of a penny. It's an extra 10 grand. That penny adds up over the course of a year. Okay, so in this class, we're talking about cost savings and how we can minimize our costs to increase our profits. Okay. Let's see. Number 7, I'm going to draw real quick. Let's do number 7 because I want to kind of move things along. So number 7, we can draw our triangle again. And what is our food cost percentage? That's our question. So percentage is what we cover up, and what's left over? Cost divided by our sales. So our cost of 4,500 divided by our sales. So the previous example, we were looking at 1 menu item. In this example, we're looking at all of the stuff for a particular period, all of our costs added together and all of our sales added together. Okay, so it can be both 1 item or big. All right, 8, 9, and 10 all kind of go along with each other. So what is 15 times 0.4? 6. Okay, so how much of a 15-pound brisket will remain with a yield factor of 40%? So 15 pounds times 0.40 gives me 6 pounds. That's how much product is left over. Y'all remember, who has not taken basic food prep? FD or Chef 1301. Awesome, cool. Remember when y'all did the brisket shrink loss test? Okay, how much you started with and how much you ended up with? 6 pounds. Excuse me. All right, so 6 pounds times, why am I multiplying by 16? 16 ounces in a pound. How many ounces are in 6 pounds? Awesome. Okay, so 6 pounds times 16 ounces. I'm converting from pounds to ounces. And so that is, what was it? 96 ounces. Okay. Now here's our big question. How many 8-ounce portions will you get from a 15-pound brisket with a 40% yield factor? all in one, all in one question, right? So step by step by step. We first apply the yield factor. So we end up with 6 pounds after we cook and trim. Our units are not the same, pounds and ounces. So I multiply by 16 ounces to get 96 ounces. And then my portions are 8 ounces. So I divide by my 8 ounces and get 12 servings. Okay, so I know I went through that very fast. Don't stress. We're going to have a whole homework assignment just about brisket. Okay, you're going to get lots of practice with this. But this is basically showing you how you can take those 3 questions, 8, 9, and 10, and put it all into one. But again, go step by step by step. And that's how I teach, step by step by step. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns? All right, let's go back to real quick and finish up our first day of class. All right, who wants money? Anybody want money? I'm not going to give you money, okay? But I'm going to tell you a story. One of my students, he did his practicum as a assistant manager at a Panda Express, okay? And then within a year, he was promoted to general manager of the store. And he came back and talked to my students about a year or so after that. And he told my students that the concepts he learned in this class, he applied on the job. And because he applied those, he was given a $10,000 bonus at the end of the year because he was able to cut his cost and conserve his costs so much that it resulted in a $10,000 bonus for the end of the year. That turns into money. That's money you put right in your pocket. Now it's not all 10,000. We got to tax that, but you know what I'm saying, right? Okay. So we did some math. The last thing I want you to think about, especially as this is a new semester, there's always things going on in our lives. Sometimes stress can be a big factor, but I am a huge advocate for positive thinking. Now, I know that the world is not sunshine and rainbows 100% of the time, okay? But if you tell me that you suck at math, guess what? You're probably going to suck at math, okay? Nothing I can do. But if you can tell me, hey, Mr. Minsky, I'm going to work really hard because I'm going to try at math. I'm going to give it my best shot. That's a different than saying, I can't do this. Okay. If you say, I can't do this, guess what? You're already giving up from the very beginning. Okay. You can try. I need you to try because it's not going to come easy to everybody. Some of you are sitting here and be like, oh my gosh, I got an A in this class already. That's the kind of math we're going to do. Some of you in this class are probably thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get a good grade in this class. Now, let me help you out with this. We are a lecture class. That means you can get a C, you can get a 70 and still pass the class, okay? We're not a lab class. It's not a B or better. But I encourage you to try your best as you are going through this class, okay? I am really excited. This semester is going to be fantastic. I encourage you, I know we're trying the high flex. I encourage you to come to class as much as possible. There is going to be one class. I want to say it's chapter 7 where we do a pizza comparison and then we eat pizza. So you're definitely going to want to come to class on that night because otherwise you don't get to eat pizza. I'll try to remind you when that is coming up. But I would encourage you to come to class. I know sometimes the allure of, oh my gosh, I can sit at home, right? But how easy is it for you to get distracted and go do something? And then you've missed a portion of what the class is going over. Okay. So I encourage you to try it. If it works for you, great. If not, then that's okay too. So before you go, I'm going to do attendance.